Hi guys, so I wanted to give you guys a update on the Leoda Bradshaw case, and there is a big update with all the details of how the child was killed and how the murders took place. So let's get into it. David Smith, unrepresented by an attorney and accused of pulling the trigger in the murder of politician Philip Pauwell's 10-month-old daughter Sarayah and the child's mother Toshyna Patterson, yesterday insisted he was innocent. His declaration came after he was served with papers by the prosecution, which is seeking to ensure that he receives the death penalty. Smith is facing charges alongside alleged mastermind of the murders, Leoda Bradshaw, her cousin, Ronald Belaford, former co-accused Roshane Miller, Richard Brown, and Bejan Black. Belaford is alleged to have brought the other men together to commit the murders. During Smith's first court appearance at the Home Circuit Court yesterday, he was informed of the major accusations against him by the prosecution, represented by Paula Llewellyn, Director of Public Prosecution. After Llewellyn read the accusation on record, Smith raised his hand, to which the judge, Justice Vinette Graham Allen, said, "Can somebody speak to Mr. David Smith?" His hand was up, and I'm not going to ask him what he wants. Attorney Deborah Martin, who is representing Bradshaw, then went to Smith, and the judge became lenient and decided to hear the accused man's concerns. "I didn't do no murder," Smith insisted. To this, judge responded, "Remember, I give you a document? When you get a lawyer, you give the lawyer that paper. So you tell me now, me talking to you, what you don't understand. Tell me." Smith said, Your Honor, I don't understand why I get this paper because I didn't do any murder." Graham Allen then shouted in response, "Okay, good. So you're not a guilty man. That's what you're saying to me? Don't do no murders. Is that it? This is your side of the story. You did not do any murders. Am I right? So when you get the lawyer, not talk to nobody else. Mouth closed, lock it, zip it up until you get one lawyer. Your bare chest. You tell the lawyer everything. Keep your mouth shut, zip it until I introduce the lawyer to you in court. You understand me? So, you hear what me say? Graham Allen said the case could not proceed until Smith and Black had lawyers. She then proceeded to finalize a date for the next hearing, which will be on June 13th. Let me tell you the date because the lawyer have to come here on that day, you see? Because this ya case ya, nah go drag out, Graham Allen said, and it's about time that a judge put their foot down and not drag out a case, especially a case of this gravity, this magnitude, how horrendous the crime is that they have done. A big problem with Jamaica judicial system is how long it takes for people to go to trial and for the time it takes to get things to trial and in court and to get jurors. We need to figure out a way how to expedite these court cases because the horrendousness of murders that have been happening in Jamaica, there need to be some deterrent. And if going to jail and going to jail quickly is not a deterrent, then what is? Llewellyn said that for this execution conspiracy contract murder, the Crown is alleging that on September 9th, 2023, Bradshaw took Patterson and the baby and then met up with her co-accused, David Smith and Richard Brown, who was already pleaded guilty after a plea negotiation and is serving his sentence. And that sentence that they gave him really made me mad because he got a slap on the wrist. He equally participated. He is a co-conspirator, and they gave them a slap on the wrist. All of them need to go to jail for the death of these two individuals. A 10-month-old child and her mom. They need to go to jail forever. Might as well bury them underneath the jail. Llewellyn said that the Crown was also alleging that Smith was the triggerman, and therefore, having reviewed the material, he was being called by the prosecution to join the other accused and was served a notice of intention for the death penalty to be sought for him in the matter. The judge ordered that they all appear remotely for the next court date set for June 13th at 2 p.m. The Crown alleges that Mr. Bejan Black joined Mr. David Smith and Mr. Richard Brown, who was the driver of the car, which arrived Miss Patterson and Sarayah Pauwell from the car driven by Leoda, and Mr. Black joined his co-accused. His two main co-accused, Mr. David Smith in his vehicle driven by Mr. Richard Brown, which was then conveyed at Patterson and Pauwell in the Mountain View area. And the Crown alleged that it was he who handed over a firearm to Mr. David Smith at the time, and they all continued to Warkey Hills area, Llewellyn said. The Crown alleged that it was Mr. David Smith who used his firearm to kill Miss Toshyna Patterson and Sarayah Pauwell in the presence of Mr. Richard Brown and Mr. Bejan Black. Shells were collected at the scene and the bodies were burnt. The Crown alleged that it was Mr. David Smith who took a picture of the dead bodies of Miss Patterson and Sarayah Pauwell, which he transmitted by his cell phone on request and orders by Miss Leoda Bradshaw to show that the contract murder had been duly completed. So, for Leoda to be a mom and a mom to a daughter, I can't imagine having someone killed and then getting their picture sent to you on your phone, which basically is a computer, a GPS tracker, on your phone. You have dead bodies on your phone, and you're a mom to a daughter, and you just killed a mom and a daughter, like beyond wicked. I don't even know what to describe her as. While Llewellyn outlined the allegations, Miss Smith, who was seated and attired in full black and black slippers, bowed his head, clasped his hands for some time in his lap. Then say, when trouble take you, pitnish, slippers fit you. This is it right here. Following this, Graham Allen asked Smith to stand and read the notice served unto him. Llewellyn then raised a new disclosure with regard to the matter where Black, who joined the proceedings virtually, had another matter in gun court. When he was apprehended by police, the Crown is alleging that he was found with the possession of a gun that a ballistic test matches with one believed to have been used by Miss Smith to kill the mother and a child. A request was made for the matter to be transferred to Graham Allen, who is presiding over the double murder. So obviously, he is not that smart. Mr. Black is not that smart. If you're going to kill someone attached to a politician, especially a politician's child in Jamaica, don't you believe if these people that Leoda hired to do this murder was smart, would have gotten rid of the gun? No, they kept the gun. They were in this for the money and nothing else, and they're not smart people. And this is why this happened the way it did. Given Black had no attorney, Graham Allen requested that 2 attorneys be assigned to him by the Legal Aid Clinic and one have in excess of 6 years. So I guess nobody wants to be their lawyer based on the crime that they committed and how publicized it is, because they probably feel like they can't help him and they can't do their jobs properly. And people also are going to look down upon them because that's Jamaican culture for you. You're defending a murderer. So they're requesting that a legal aid be given to them because they don't have a lawyer. And I feel like if they were smart, if they had money, they could have afforded their own top shot lawyer, which would have been better represented for them in this case. But seeing that they don't, they get what they don't get. Bradshaw, who sported a natural hairstyle and an unkempt weave bun, a black dress with floral print, and gray slippers, sat by herself in the prisoner's dock while Smith and Ballaford sat in another area at the back of the dock. Miss Leoda and everyone in this case need to go to jail forever. One thing I will say is, why are they seeking the death penalty in this case and not in the case where the Clarendon 4 happened, or the case recently where the man's sentence was reduced, the one that killed his side chick while having a wife and family because the side chick got a new man? Why weren't prosecution seeking the death penalty for those cases? But anyone with eyes can see is because this case is attached to a prominent politician. And while they are trying to set an example because politicians are authority figures in Jamaica, that's fine. But it's also setting a bad example because regular Jamaican people need justice also. But with that being said, this is the update on Leoda Bradshaw's case. Their next date in court is June 13th. With that being said, like, comment, share, subscribe, leave your comments in the comment section below, and I hope all of them are having the worst time being in jail. Deuces.